so I'll be back. I'm not racing on that.
Yeah, okay. I think the stream is up. Yes, it is. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to International Racing League. We're here at International Racing League Season 7 F1 tier at round number 9 at Germany. We have 17 drivers so far, as my co-commentator will be coming back shortly. He's just having some connection issues. We should be going underway very shortly, in like a minute or so. As he'll try and rejoin back through quali. If he can't make it, it'll be just for me then today, but that was Kevin. As right now then, we are, I think, waiting for one driver. Where's... Try and invite him again. Guys, got any comments? Do leave them down in the stream chat. I will answer them. And if you guys do want to join IRL, message TNR, is that Sandra or ZE3XER or me, IRL Neon, and then we'll send you the link to Discord. As right now I'm just going to invite Aspect dead quick. So there we go. There's also some news that Jack Yates has come back. Yes, Team Noah Racing Esports Sandra is racing today. He is in the Toro Rosso, of course, with Eric. These two have been quite strong at certain bits. At Britain, the strongest in qualifying, but unfortunately the race let them down with strategy problems, and Sandra had a bad start. Could see them do well today yet again. As Sandra said, he has high hopes for Germany as he feels confident. Same with Eric as well. So we could see the Toro Rosso team possibly getting a 5th and a 6th position, as my co-commentator has made it back. And the quality is miles better. Yeah. So we can properly hear you now. So Kevin is my co-commentator. He is back then and returned. And we have 17 drivers right now, Kevin, which is great to see. Good turnout. Just got to make sure everything is good. Yes, everything's good.
Yeah, and it looks like Cameron Young is back as well, as I'm pretty sure he wasn't here last week. So the Williams have both drivers on the grid this time, and obviously when both Williams drivers are on the grid, usually it's Mercedes winning and then them getting a 2-3, as we saw that in Austria, I think, and
Bahrain.
Yeah. Bahrain.
Well, that is true, of course, and Cameron as well has done basically what I'm doing, is learning wheel as well. So maybe next season we could see Cameron possibly in this tier or F2, for instance, on wheel. Don't know why I'll be on wheel, of course, but people are now starting to learn less assists and stuff, which is great to see. But today he is driving on pad. He feels he's too slow for wheel today, but he's going to try and help his teammate in the constructors. Definitely, I think the constructors is basically confirmed for Williams, to be honest. The Mercedes team need to pull up their game, and Williams basically need a lot of DNFs for them to catch up. But anything can happen, of course, as Sandra said. It sounds a little bit ambitious to what Team Noah Racing Esports said that he could win. But you never know, Sandra. It can happen. You have won a classic event, or an event before, against two awesome drivers, Brandon and Matthew. But anything can happen. As good evening, Luke Baker. Welcome to the stream. While we're waiting now, we have 18 drivers now, so another driver has joined. It's good to see, as we can see Matthew Collins in the Ferrari, who had his debut win last week, which is great to see. It was good for him, actually. He was really happy with that win, and he fought tooth and nail with it. And Jack unfortunately didn't get the strategy perfect, and neither did Matthew Alders. He got harshly a puncher and a 5-second penalty, which he had to serve. And looking for Ollie for some more luck today as well in the McLaren as well. But we should be starting very soon, as we've been 3 minutes overdue. We went 2 more minutes then for a driver. But right now the championship fight is between Matthew and Jay right now, Kevin, and it's looking quite well at the moment for the championship to go Matthew's way at the moment. How do you feel on that scenario?
Wait. Shit, I wasn't ready listening.
Well, Matthew is in the lead with 139 points. Jay in second with 92 points. These two are the only guys fighting for the championship. Do you think Matthew can basically not really push that much to basically confirm that he could win the championship? I know he can't win it today, but do you think he's basically done what he needs to do to basically succeed to win the championship in a few races' time?
Well, yeah, I mean, although Jay has been there every now and then, he's picked up obviously few wins, picking up well, I mean, it's not even picking up the pieces, he's just been all of his wins he's been properly on the pace with Matthew. Obviously in Austria and Bahrain, he won them very well, but yeah, Matthew's just, I think, a little more consistent. Obviously he has quite a lead, so I think he kind of has it just wrapped up almost, you could say. Right now he just kind of has to do what he normally does, and that'll be enough. For Jay, I think if he still is looking at a potential championship win, which is always still possible, he's gonna have to take those wins away from Matthew and really put the pressure on to try and force Matthew into a mistake. But I think making a mistake for Matthew is something a bit foreign, you could say.
Yeah, that is true. Of course, Matthew is rare to make mistakes, but he did make a mistake in Austria, a traumatic event where he could have won. Unfortunately, he got a penalty, and then he basically got passed by Jay. Didn't really want to fight him that much, since it was the last lap. He didn't want to cause a crash, and finished in second. Lost 7 points off Jay, because I don't think Jay got the fastest lap then. But right now, though, we have 18 drivers. Oh, we actually have 19. Jamie will be able to make it into the race. Unfortunately, he won't be in quali. That is a shame, but he will be in the race, of course, as we have 19 then, as I believe a Racing Point is out first. And it's Rich. Oh, it's Ash Best, as I call him, but his name is actually Richard, and he is in the Racing Point as a reserve today. May eventually get a full-time seat if he wants it. It is available, possibly, if another driver is unavailable to take that seat, because we do have Jack Yates, who got promoted to Ferrari, I believe, or Alfa Romeo, I can't remember. I think it might have been Ferrari, but he got promoted into a full-time seat after he left with wheel issues. It's okay, Jamie, you can make it into the race, of course. Unfortunately, you will miss qualifying, but you never know. Starting at the back could be the best place to start. We've seen Lewis Hamilton around here not have the best place to start, and he won the race, so you never know, anything can happen. But we are going to go on board with Richard then, who's about to begin his lap very shortly. He's just finishing sector 2. So here we go then, through the final couple of corners, as we're now approaching turn 16. Now, through turn 7, you've got to make sure you don't invalidate, because you can, if you go over that line and invalidate, it's over by 2 laps. But he's on a flying lap now, as let's see how he takes turn 1. Already invalidate, and that will be very disappointing for him, as we'll go on board with Cameron Young
behind him, instantly invalidate on the exit as well.
Is that Eric?
Leaves, I think, Eric or... Yeah, it's Eric.
So Eric then, we'll see if he will invalidate this time. No, yeah, he does.
Invalidates.
So 3 drivers already invalidated.
Brandon Glover.
Then it'll be Matthew Order. Will Brad invalidate? No, he's the first one not to invalidate. So let's see how he takes turn 2 then.
Matthew Order invalidated.
Oh, that's not good for him, as he did say. He did tell me that he isn't fond of the track. He said he's going to be 30% chance of winning today, as he has invalidated a lot of turn 1. Right now, though, we'll go on board with Brand down the big long curve straight, of which is called turn 5, but I don't really class it as a turn, as he's now approaching turn 6, now into the heaven, goes down to gear 1, short shift straight to 3rd, which is the best thing to do, but he don't get the best exit with the rear kicking out a little bit. He is on the hard tyres, of course, not the grippiest type of tyre. So now he's going through the Mercedes Grandstand through turn 8 and 9. Toro Rosso there is getting out of the way, and that is Eric. Nice and tidy there from Bran, as he's now going through the fast right of turn 12. Nice and tidy at the moment. Will be on provisional pole through the Vettel bottle corner, as I call it, at turn 13. Now 14 and 15. Nice and tidy there from Bran. Through turn 60 now. One more corner to go. Will he invalidate? No, he doesn't. He keeps it within track limits, and coming to the line, he sets a 113 flat. It's a provisional pole, and then there is a Ferrari who's next. I believe that's Jack Yates. No, it's not. It's Matthew Collins. There's a 12.4. 6/10 quicker there than Bran. It's a very good lap. As now we have a McLaren. I believe Ollie Flavel, who's on an out lap. If you want to go over his lap there, Kevin. He's currently in turn 1.
He's invalidated as well.
A lot of the drivers are invalidating. I've noticed.
Yeah, I did see the two McLarens, Ollie on his outlap, helping out his teammate Jack within the slipstream, so it looks like maybe they're planning to give each other slipstreams their whole thing, and actually looking at where they were placed, it looks like Jack was going to return the favour for Ollie's run, but Ollie obviously retired, validated, not retired. Yeah. Looks like the two McLarens are making use of a little bit of slipstream.
Well, the home favourite, Felix Negua, then, is about to start his final lap, Kevin. Hopefully he doesn't invalidate turn 1. Let's see if he keeps it within track limits. No, he doesn't. No. He also invalidates. A lot of people are not liking the track limits for turn 1. And apparently it might be a lot easier not to invalidate on the new game when it comes out. So maybe that won't be a headache for much longer, as we have a Williams further ahead. Is that Cameron Young? It is Cameron Young, but he's also invalidated. I believe Ollie then will be on another attempt. See how he takes turn 1. Let's see if we can get on board, see where he just invalidates. No, he keeps it this time, Kevin, if you want. Oh, no! Oh, big hit. Ollie's out. Bran, I don't know what happened then. I was about to tell you to go over on board with Ollie, but that was really quick. Bran lost it through turn 1, and Ollie had nowhere to go and just ploughed straight into him, and Ghostin is on. So
I just found Ash on the lap, although he's gonna... Okay, there's Ollie's AI car.
Yeah, but he didn't manually retire, that's the issue. He instantly retired when he hit, so I don't know what happened there. But that was a big hit.
Yeah, anyway, Ash is on the lap. He is
Rich. That's Rich.
1.
Oh, Richard, as he likes to be called.
Rich. I mean, I prefer to call him Ash, honestly. Yeah, Richard, is it?
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah, Richard. On the lap, he set a purple sector 1, coming through, I think this is turn 9 or 10. Another purple sector. Obviously he is on the soft, so you would expect him to get pole here. Doesn't actually get onto first gear, which I kind of expected to be the case there. But through turns... Oh, never mind. He's aborted.
He's aborted then?
Oh, he's trying to get a feel for the track then.
Yeah, possibly. I don't think softs are the best strategy choice, of course, because I think it is a medium to hard strategy, so it is a one-stop strategy in the race. As Lewis Curtis is also... Oh no, Lewis Curtis on hards. So he's on softs. It's Andre who's got softs selected. Same with Pedro. As right now we're going to go on board with the Haas driver of Casper, who got a podium in the first round in the Haas team, and he hasn't had a podium, I don't think, since Australia either. I think that was his last podium he had, but he's getting nice slipstream from Matthew Collins. Now Matthew Collins gets out of the way, so there's a bit of team play between these two in different teams. As right now then, Casper gets an alright hairpin, doesn't go to gear 1 I don't think.
I've just found Steigeman also on the lap. So
oh, Voss, yeah, if you could keep an eye on him. He's in 8th right now, isn't he? So he's just started his lap on here. Alright, now then, Casper's apparently purple in Sector 2, so is Casper then looking for provisional pole? The fastest lap is a 12 flat from Jay. Matthew's on a 12.5 in 4th right now. So Jay is looking very strong at Germany. But here comes Casper then, through the final corner. Will he invalidate? No, he keeps within track limits. Comes to the line, 13.4. So it was purple in Sector 2, but he lost a lot of time through the final sector. And you said Voss was on that.
Looking at Voss, he's had a purple Sector 1 and 2 now. Through the fast right. He's going to have to hook up the last bit of this lap. He is on for pole so far. Going through the final couple of corners. You got to make sure you don't go too wide here. You just got to maximise the amount of track you're allowed to use. And through the final corner now, DRS open, coming to the line. He is not going to get the pole position. Just very, very close gap.
That is true, of course. And Voss is in the Red Bull, which actually Brett's actually meant to be in. Unfortunately, Brett hasn't made it again. He is meant to be back racing after his season ban ended last week. So, well, it actually ended in Austria, but he should be racing by now. Voss is doing quite well for the Red Bull team as a reserve, I believe. He's done a 12 lap in second place. It's good to see he's got the pace to challenge the top guys. Maybe he could be a championship contender next season against Matthew and Jay. But right now then, we are going to go on board with Lewis Curtis. That's actually done a lap. He's done 11. No, he's done 17.4 in 12, so that was a banker then, as he is on a proper lap this time. His teammate is dead ahead though. Is his teammate invalidated? Oh no, his teammate is actually on a lap ahead of him on quicker tyres possibly. Cameron Young has called it a day. Cameron Young's lost it through turn 15, it looks like.
I was watching Matthew Older, and he seemed to be going pretty well. Also got a bit of slipstream off Eric in the straight, but he invalidated coming to the fast right at the start of sector 3.
Well, that is unfortunate there for him, as here comes Rich then, who is on a lap. Then we'll go on board with Lewis Curtis straight after, who's also on a lap further behind. So Richard's lagging a little bit of lag issues for Richard as he's going through the final corner. See what time he will do. It's a 12.2. Goes third place currently. What about Lewis Curtis? Lewis Curtis has invalidated and will peel into the pits. And Richard did say he will be doing a podium interview today if he gets on the podium, which is good to hear. As we now have 11 views, which is great to see. As Pedro
looking at
is on softs. That's interesting. What were you saying?
Looking at the gap between the top two, very close, and then you look at third and fourth, very close. And then you look at 5th and 6th, very close. And then you look at 7th and 8th, very close.
Oh yeah, you are correct there actually. It's quite close from P11 from the lead really. It's only a second roughly, but that's still close. You can gain that time basically on the medium tyres. And Matthew's on the medium tyres right now, or got him selected. Same with Jay. Pedro's invalidated on the soft run. I think he was just trying to get used to the track, as he's got minor damage to his wing, which I'm quite concerned about. But there's a Racing Point who's still out on a run. Is that Richard still out on a run? No, he's coming into the pits. What about Matt? He isn't on a good lap. He's invalidated, and he's in the Renault, I believe, now from now on as well, since Aaron Collingwood vacated his seat. But right now, it looks like Jay is the man to watch, as well with Voss and Richard. Right now, as Matthew is in 6th place on hard tyres. He did say he's got 30% chance of winning this race to me. So maybe that 37% chance is around about 20% chance now, as he's really not looking confident as he's in P6. As nobody is on track right now, which gives us a bit of time of guessing the weather for the race. Kevin, I mean, how do you think the weather's going to be like? Do you think it could be dry, or do you think we could have a third wet race running?
Germany tends to have the odd bit of rain here and there, so I wouldn't say it's out of the question, but I think today we're going to have theirs.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be dries, especially when the guys are on mediums and hards, but we never know. They could possibly be rain near the end of the race. Maybe this is why they're on these tyres anyway. It'll be a very interesting strategy call then. Sondra's got an outlap on softs.
Track is Sondra and Casper.
He's on softs. He's definitely got enough time to come back round the track and pit, but I wouldn't say do that as a qualifying attempt on soft tyres unless there actually is rain and he knows about this strategy, doing soft to hards. Now I know Sondre, he does some weird strategies sometimes with tyres, like I've seen him do at Singapore, soft to hards, or you know, it's weird strategies like that. Now he may bank on a safety car, but with us drivers, softs isn't really the best choice on this track, because maximum they're going to do with good performance is 3 laps, and then they're going to be dead.
I'm pretty sure he qualified in the softs last season, actually thinking about it, so I wouldn't
Maybe he might know a secret.
Same again.
As Team Nowhere Racing Esports says, Sandra's got the soft medium in the bag, don't worry about it. So could we see the legendary Bottle Hound take pole position from Jay? Right now though, we're on board with Casper, who's on a lap right now. And he comes into the pits and Sandra Sohag, but right now Casper doesn't invalidate turn 1 as he's now approaching turn 2. Let's see how he takes turn 2. Goes in 3rd gear there, which is going to send him out a little bit wide. Not the turn he may want, but he's 3.5 tenths up on his lap, currently purple in sector 1, so he could be quicker than Jay, who's only just gone out on the medium tyres. Let's see how Casper then takes the hairpin corner. Well, thank you for that information there, Team Noah Racing. As right now then, Casper through the little right-hander, going into the Mercedes grandstand. Nice and tidy there from Casper. Not losing the rear end or anything, feels quite confident and comfortable in that Haas. It's a lot stable. Maybe he's running a stable setup. As now through the fast right-hander he goes. Just through the 2 final corners, through the final turn 16. Comes to the line. What is it going to be? It's going to be a 12-2. Only gets 4th place. So he's 2 tenths off the provisional pole, which is on hard tyres. So Casper's currently the highest medium runner. And I believe that is Matthew Alder, who's next up on a outlap. Now, will Matthew bottle his turn 1? If you want to go on board with him, Kevin. Oh, he almost took the rear end.
I mean, you said he might have bottled. He did have a bit of oversteer on the exit, but he keeps it under control. Through to the straight, which is, as you said, turn 5. That kind of. Oh, and there's a stricken Haas there of Haas G, so obviously he has had a crash in the straight. It looks like people are getting around him, but
Jason's
on board
fast
with Matthew Alder. As Jay sets a fast stop of the race, so 11-1 is the time that Matthew's going to have to beat if he wants pole. This is going to be his last run as well, so the pressure is on now through the little left-right, and now coming up to the fast right. You've got to get as much of the track on the entry to swing the car in, and he does just that. Coming into the hairpin now, last sector, he hasn't got much of the track left to use. Now through the final 2 corners, he's going to have to go out wide. He doesn't invalidate. Coming to the line, will he take the pole away from Jay? No, he won't. 3 tenths off.
But here comes Pedro to the line. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to him in time. I believe that's Jack then coming to the line. As Pedro moves to P2, so Pedro jumps Matthew. 11.3 there, so Matthew drops to 3rd. As now we have cars coming up dead quick. It's now Sandra Sohag who's on a lap, so we will go on board with him very shortly. Jack Laverty, I believe, is coming to the line. He's on hard still, done a 12-2.
Rich just went P3 with a 0.4.
Eric is now coming to the line. Oh, so Matthew's now in 4th place. What about Matt? Has Matt got anything to answer? He's currently 4.5 tenths up, and his time goes 7th with 11.7 there. He will be happy with that as Diego jumps him 11.6 into 7th place. So I believe the Ferrari of Jack Yates, who's come back into the F1 tier, is currently in 13th right now. He's looking very confident. Oh, he's lost the rear end, and he's into the barrier.
Oh, that's identical to, I think it was a Force India in real life.
That's a hefty hit.
18.
Oh, here comes Sandra Soga, who's invalidated. Let's see what time he would have done, unless he comes into the pits. But he will be starting 15th on the grid, which isn't the best qualifying position, especially when turn 1 is going to be involved. So right now then, let's see what he does coming to the line. Will anyone beat their laps, however? As Jack Lamptey's now coming to the line as well. So we will go on board with Jack. He does a 12.1, moves to 9th. What about Eric? Has Eric got anything to answer to Matthew Collins, Casper, Jack Lamptey or Richard in 3rd? As here comes Eric. to the line, and it's 11.8, P9. So he will be happy with that to get the Toro Rosso into the top 10. But Richard there beats Matthew, but unfortunately just misses out on Pedro there, but only just beat Matthew by a few thousandths of a second. Jared for the win tomorrow. No, I don't think I'm winning tomorrow, Halbo. I'm on my wheel. I'm not going back pad, so if I was on pad then yeah. But if
is the chat just bombarded with TNR drivers in the TNR account?
Yeah. Right now then, we will go on board with the official qualifying results. Jay then takes pole position with 11.1, 2/10 off that is Pedro. Then third is Richard, fourth is Matthew, fifth is Voss, sixth is Lewis Curtis, good qualifying from him. Diego in seventh, Matt in eighth, Eric in at ninth to finish the Toro Rosso. 10th is Jack Lavity, Casper 11th, Matthew Collins 12th, Jack Yates in 13th with the ball on the final run in his qualifying attempt. Brandon Glover in 14th getting destroyed by Ollie. 15th is Sondre, 16th is Oliver with a contact with Brian unfortunately, and Cameron Young in 17th, and I believe 18th was Felix. Felix was 18th, and 19th will be Jamie Morris in the start of the race. So we will have 19 drivers, which is awesome to see. And wow, it's cloudy. It is cloudy. Are we expecting torrential rain?
Wouldn't mind some.
Yeah, it spiced up the racing a little bit. You know, it spiced up last week where Matthew and Jay actually weren't the guys fighting for the win. It was a few different people, and it was actually Matthew Collins who did take the win there. Unfortunately, Jack, yet again, missed out on the chance to win. But will it rain near the end of the race? It does look like there's a bit of blue sky, a little bit, so it could possibly just be an overcast at the moment, and it could possibly warm up. But I've got to then say, Kevin, when we do see the grid, who will be your top four in the race prediction?
I'm gonna put Jay first. Voss second. Matthew Aller third, and Jack Levity fourth.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to go with Jay first. I think Matthew is going to get a second with, I'm going to say Voss for third and Pedro for fourth. I don't think Lewis Curtis or Diego are going to be up there today. Possibly fifth and sixth for them as they are at the moment. But you never know, it is turn one. Anything can happen. You've got to get turn one right. Is going. Adam says, Sondre, clap is clap. Going to clap bottle. Change my mind. And then he says, in all seriousness, I want Sondre on a podium, which is great to hear for Adam. It could happen. Anything can happen, of course. There could be a massive pile-up that Sondre could win. As we did see a massive pile-up on 2018 game in Baku from Brandon Glover in Season 5, which I commentated for at Baku, and he got a podium out of that. So, anything can happen. As right now, though, Jay is controlling the pace on the formation lap, trying to get those tyres warmed up on those mediums with the cool weather as it is at the moment. And the softs would be perfect for these conditions, probably could last an extra 2 laps with the conditions as it is right now. As TJ has said, Sondre first, Matthew second, and Felix third. And that's their predictions then. As we are about to get to the start sequence, as there goes Pedro lining up on his side of the row in second, Jay lining up in first. We're now waiting for the 19 cars to line up on the grid. So here we have it then, and only one of the Alphas could make it today, it looks like, which is a shame. As Kevin, if you can look at the back of the grid and I'll look at the front. As we're about to start the sequence lights, we now have 2 lights, 3 lights, now 4 red lights, now 5 red lights. So we're about to start the German Grand Prix in IRL Season 7, and lights are out. And a great start for one of the Red Bull drivers further behind, but then he bogs down in the gears, and Matthew stays, she moves up to third. Lewis Curtis has had a great start into fourth. Matthew now jumps to second place. Will he challenge Jay into turn 2? No, he doesn't. He stays behind as now the Red Bull of Voss is trying to get on the inside of one of the racing points, and right now has to lose against one. As look at Diego's getting a nice camera shot. Could be 4 wide. Could we see a 4 wide move for this position? As at the moment it is 3 wide. It's almost 4, almost 5 wide at one point, as there is no instance at all. Sandra's dropped to 19th at the moment, which is not good to see.
Yeah, everyone getting through the first couple of corners very well. This that is Stesium and Voss and the 2 racing points battling it out. Looks like he's gonna just come out on top. That's Brandon Glover in the background. Oh,
yeah, and a VSC.
He's got a wing damage.
Oh, Matthew Collins has got a 5-second time penalty. It's hitting Sandra Sohaug. So will that be removed? Since it's a safety car, but hopefully it gets sorted out. And I thought I saw a sprinkle of rain, but that wasn't. It was just a VSC. Right now then, we'll have a grid reset. Jay then is in first place, kept his pole position. Matthew had a good start, moved up 2 positions, and already Pedro's trying to make a move already before the VSC, it looked like that. And he is getting really warmed up to try and overtake Matthew for that position back. Boss moves to 4th, Lewis Curtis drops to 5th, as now we go green, green, green. And now we can see a nice action-packed battle as Diego jumps in to 6th place, battling with Richard. Oh, as Richard's had a bit of contact, and there's contact, Richard's round. Oh, and there's going to be chaos. Oh, Jack Laverty. Oh, there's a big crash. Did I just see a McLaren flip there?
Yeah, that would be Jack Leverty, and he's out of the race.
That was a
no
big
clue what happened
hit
there, but it looks like he was sent airborne.
Yeah, I saw the first part of the incident. Richard and Diego didn't really agree with turn 3, and it spun Ash round from Diego, and Richard had nowhere to go, couldn't move, couldn't get in reverse gear, and I'm surprised that isn't a safety car. I'm really surprised. That was a big, hefty impact, and that is upsetting to see Jack Laverty out of the race already by lap 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think he started on the hards as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did.
So he was on for a good strategy at the end. Mediums versus hards at the end. I mean, he would have been quite a lot faster, but right now, obviously Jay is kept out of it, Matthew's kept out of it. Now the 2 championship rivals once again find themselves on the same part of track.
Jack Yates has gone off. He's both. Is that both Fryers without a front wing? No, it's just Jack Yates who's got damage to his front wing. But right now then, we can see Lewis Curtis trying to close up on Voss, as this could be a 5-way battle for the lead of the races. Now we can see Matt and Cameron Young. Cameron Young in the Williams to try and help his teammate in the Constructors, as we can see another fight further behind. Eric, Ollie and Diego fighting it out, as Ollie is already ahead in the corner. Diego gets past Eric, and a good move to see after the contact he had with Richard, and no damage on the Haas at the moment.
Wait, did I see? I didn't see rain, did I?
Yeah, it's raining. It is raining. So we've got rain yet again. 3rd round running, and there is rain on the Haas. So maybe the guys who've already pit, going on a quickest tyre option, could be winning out, as we can see a little bit of sprinkle of rain. But it is Germany. Could we see another Britain where it stopped raining, it took 10 laps till it went completely dry? So will we see a 12 lap or 15 lap till we start seeing the inter tyres? I have seen it before, as right now though Diego is trying to close up on Ollie as Cameron sets the new fastest lap.
Jay didn't have a great turn 1. Matthew is closing up. Will he maybe go for a move? No, but he's close up so much now that on the exit he might be able to get a bit of slipstream. DRS will be in activation as well, as it is lap 4. He's closing. He's going to go for the outside into the hairpin side by side between the 2 title rivals, and it looks like he does get the move just before the corner up into first place for Matthew Alder.
Yep, that is true, of course. Good move there from Matthew Alder there, as we see another fight further behind, a 3-wide fight for Ollie and Diego, and also now closing on Matt for P7. So right now there's scraps all over the place. There's another scrap further behind between Felix Negua at his home race against Sandra Sorrows. They go side by side with a little right-hander. Now through the Mercedes grandstand, Sandra is trying to make it work round the outside. The Bottlehaug is doing some amazing racing against Felix, a season 4 champion. Oh, is that Sandra round? Sandra is round, and he's bottled that move. And unfortunately, it's back to his traditional name, Bottlehaug. or as the bottle he likes to be called. However though, Matthew is already pulling a big gap to Jay now, 7/10 already, so is Jay basically trying to keep the car in good working order, not trying to push that much with the tricky conditions at the moment.
You know, looking at last week, it looks like Jay does prefer at least the interiors conditions. We didn't see anyone on full wet tyres. But
oh, hang on, that's Diego. I'm sorry to cut you off. Diego's gone round in turn 2. Has he had wing damage? I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, he has. He's lost an end plate there, so I think he's had a bit of contact there with Ollie. Now, has Ollie got wing damage? I couldn't tell. No, he doesn't. Sorry to cut you off there, Kevin. As you were saying.
Yeah, it looks like Jay does respond quite well to intermediate conditions, and it looks like intermediate conditions are going to come very soon. So once everyone pits and gets the intermediate tyres on, I think we could see Jay goes right back up to Matthew Walder and maybe try and get a bit of a gap.
That is true, of course. And right now, the person who is in a great position right now is Jamie. He started 19th, he's now 8th. You can see another fight further behind Ollie and Felix, and Eric has got some wing damage. Now, was that between him and Diego? Maybe that's what made a bit of contact and slowed Ollie down, possibly, as Eric's got a big chunk of damage on his car. But right now, Ollie is in P9, and he's the head McLaren for today, as he's the only one still running. Of course, we only had one retirement, which is surprising with the incident at the moment, but as we have a nice battle for first place, technically, as there's cars trying to close onto each other. Now we can see Lewis Curtis thinking about making a move on Voss. DRS is still active, even though the rain is picking up.
Yeah, it looks like Jay, as of right now, isn't doing too great. I mean, obviously he's lost the position to Matthew Walder, and Pedro's also closing up to him as well. I've seen the background Voss is under a little bit of pressure from Lewis.
I hope it's gone into us. It's not into us yet. There's no way it's into us. Is it?
I don't think so, but I have seen Eric in the past go for a bit of gamble, and it has paid off for most of the time. So maybe this is another one of them gambles. No one's putting this. Pedro's in now.
Pedro's in. So Pedro's pitted.
Stays out. So it looks like this is a
Cameron's in.
Risk. Cameron Young's also in.
If you can keep an eye on the battle between Voss and Lewis right now, as I'll see what tyres the Renault goes on. The Renault is going on intermediates then, so he is thinking that it's intermediates already. Cameron's made his pit stop, so Matthew can pit next lap.
Yeah, I think the two Williams might have
Voss has backed off.
Said. Yeah, I think the two Williams think that maybe on this lap it's going to be fully intermediate, so let one car in on one lap so the other car doesn't lose out too much. And to be honest, it might be the right strategy, because a few people are going on inters. It seems the rain really has picked up. They could all be in for inters.
Ollie's gone off in the main straight where we saw Casper. Now here comes Casper with a lot more straight line speed on the soft tyres, of course. Ollie's only just got back to pace, but he's on 6 lap medium, so he has spun, and the guys are struggling to keep it on track. But DRS is still active. I haven't seen it deactivate yet. And Ollie gets that position now.
Is Matthew Walder going to pit? That's the question right now. He is in, and Jay is going to follow him, so everyone is coming in now.
Did he cut the pit lane a little bit?
Looks like everyone took the same line in there.
I'm just wondering, as Jay then is in, so he's kind of lucky, to be honest. He's not really going to get held up, and he's already out. He's probably got held up a little bit. What about Matthew? Is he going to get held up by anybody? No, he doesn't, but he gains a little bit of time on Jay, as they're both on intermediates. As Lewis Curtis is already out, coming out of the pits and inters. Same with Voss, as Jamie Morris is now on a set of inter tyres, looking for a good result for the Alfa Romeo team. I think he's a reserve, as he's in 8th right now. I think
that was a very good call from the Williams guys to have one car in one lap and one car in the next lap, because Cameron hasn't actually lost out. If anything, he's gained a bit. He's up in 6th now.
Oh yeah, that is true, of course, as he's actually gained, let's see how many positions he's gained. He's gained 11 positions, same as Jamie, who's currently in 8th right now. So both of these drivers had a great start and a great result. And right now, Cameron Young is already challenging Voss for P5. So could we see a surprise 3rd place for Cameron Young?
Yeah, we may be. I mean, he's been able to put himself on the podium quite a lot, consistently. He hasn't got a win this season, although he has came close a few times as he goes very right there. But yeah, I think we could well see him on the podium today. Of course, as of right now, he can see the podium. It's not too far up the road, so not out of the question.
Yep, that is true, of course. And right now, the battle for P11 right now between Diego and Eric is heating up. Gap now 5/10. Ollie is slowly closing, so these guys are still fighting. And there's Casper also behind, so both Hasses are basically sandwiching the Toro Rosso and the McLaren right now. Sondre Sohaug is in 10th. Sondre Sohaug is on the intermediates. Isn't really a fan of the wet weather, but it is Sondre. He is quick at Germany. So right now he's actually trying to catch up with Felix Negwa, who's the home favourite to get a good result here in Germany. He is in the Red Bull. Could be a possible fight for there. There's also another fight for P3 right now with Lewis Curtis and Pedro. Sondre lost a little bit of time there through turn 3. And he's a bit low on fuel. That is interesting. Maybe he's trying to go a low fuel load so he can be quicker on the straights, but to try and save his tyre life. But I'll tell you who's in trouble right now is Eric. Ollie Flavel is making a move on the inside, about to approach turn 6. Goes alongside the Toro Rosso and gets the position. Eric tries to switch but can't make it work with a grip at the moment on those intermediates. And it just looks like Ollie's got a lot stabler setup in these conditions right now.
Yeah, I haven't necessarily been watching that battle. Obviously, it seems that Ollie took a little bit to actually get in the pit lane. His actually no, he went in a lap early, I think. 3 lap old into, so that's why he's down there. But yeah, he seems to be doing well now, and he's gonna have to hope for a bit of a safety car and try and get back through this field.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And Lewis Curtis right now is currently 4th, looking for another podium this season, as he had his win taken off him in Australia when Matthew's penalty got removed. I believe that was his last chance on the podium, I believe. But right now he's sitting in 4th, looking very confident for 3rd place, possibly. Did Jackie leave the session? Yeah, I think he did. No, he didn't. Sorry, it's because
no, he's not out of the session. He's just a lap down.
Yep. As then he's now a lap down officially, but there's yellows, and that's another Ferrari. That's Matthew Collins, the race winner at Silverstone, has unfortunately lost it through turn 1. I believe he's got no front wing. So, is the track getting ready for wet tyres already, or? Because the spray isn't that bad, and there is still a bit of break in the clouds, so we could possibly see the weather changing or clearing up, possibly in the next 10 or 11 laps.
I wouldn't say we're too close to full wets if it's coming, but I wouldn't keep it out of the question. But I've been looking at the gaps between Matthew and Jay, and it looks like while the advantage is small, it looks like Matthew is slowly pulling away, although in the first sector Jay seems to be just that little bit quicker, but it's not enough to compensate for what he's losing in sector 2 and 3. So looks like Jay is gonna have to maybe pick up the pace a bit more if he wants to catch Matthews, because as of right now he is falling back.
Well, I'll tell you a person who isn't falling back is Jamie Morris. He wants another position, and he's making a move on map for P7 now in the Renault. As he's on the inside, doesn't really dive it because these conditions aren't the best on the brakes. And he's still side by side, don't get the best exit there. And Matt, they're still side by side. No, they're not going to go side by side through this little right-hander. This is going to be tricky. Oh, almost side pods touch there. Very close race between these two as they're going still side by side there. Matt shoves him off a little bit. And that is clean racing between these two. As Matthew Collins has called it a day then, so he has retired in the pits. Oh no. Jamie, you're not doing what I think you are. No, he stays behind at the moment, so we could see a possible overtake very soon for Jamie Morris, as he's looking very confident on the intermediate tyres, especially from starting in 19th and currently in 8th.
Yeah, and obviously he's been making up the position, so he hasn't actually been doing too badly. Right behind Matty, he should be able to make a move very soon. Looks to have to pace over him.
That's true, of course. He's taking it very cautious through turn one, both drivers are, but it is the inters. As the DRS isn't in effect, so it's basically just slipstream. And it looks like that Alpha's running lower wings than the McLaren. I mean, the Renault.
Through turn 4, that is. He is closing. I think he will be making a move. Coming into the hairpin. I can't see right now. He is going to go down the inside. He's going to have to be late on the brakes to really make this move work. He is there just about, and looks like he actually went down to neutral, so...
Yeah, what went there down to neutral, but also Matt didn't give him that much room, to be honest, and I think there was also a little bit of contact with that left side of Jamie's front wing. I think Matt there didn't feel like he was significantly alongside, but it looked like he was, for us anyway, so that's unfortunate there for Jamie Morris. Maybe next attempt he needs to be a lot braver on the brakes, as this is the closest fight right now on the track. So we'll stay on board with it. Gotta say that Jamie's doing really well right now, especially where he started in these conditions. Lewis Curtis gets a 3-second time penalty. That's going to be crucial if he wants to try and get a podium in today's race. And also,
Matty has made a mistake. He is going to be able to go down the inside into turn 2.
He's being smart.
No,
he's going to wait. He's going to wait for the longer straight, so he has a better run. He's a lot closer to Matt this time, but he's going to get a good exit out of turn 3. Yep, he gets a good run. I think this is it. Matt's time in 7th is game over, and this is Jamie's time. Jamie goes on the inside. So now we're side by side, and it looks like Jamie's the car ahead. Already goes to the braking zone, closes Matt off to stop him trying to go on the outside. And Matt tries for a possible switch, but can't make it work. And Jamie takes P7, and will be happy with that.
Yeah, now we can start chasing down the next kind of small train of cars, excluding the top 2 of course, because they seem to be getting away from everyone, but 10-second gap, he's already brought it down by 5/10, so looks like he really does have to pace for him.
And I'm actually wrong, Jamie's actually in the Alfa Romeo. He's actually teammates with Fran. Unfortunately can't make it today. So Jamie is actually in the Alfa Romeo, so he is a full-time driver, so he will be scoring points for the Alfa Romeo team, which will help him out in the drivers and the constructors, as right now Alfa Romeo are 10th in the constructors at the moment. Only a few points off Red Bull. So it looks could be a good result there, and to catch Red Bull to take 9th.
Yeah, in that last sector he
is that Ollie?
Almost 5/10.
Ollie's losing it. It's not, I don't know, I've just noticed, I have noticed, Kevin, that a few of the drivers are struggling in these inter conditions as Ollie lets Brand through. Plus we felt like it was a danger into turn 1. But right now, the 3 drivers have spun it in these conditions, and do you think in Germany when it's inters, do you think it's trickier conditions compared to what it is in wet, or do you think it's just inexperience with these conditions and lack of traction? What do you say to that?
I'd say it's just a bit of lack of traction. I mean, it's obviously easier to make mistakes around here, and it shows a bit the more experienced drivers will be the ones who aren't spinning and really keeping on the pace. And one of those drivers, I have to say, does kind of look like Jamie's. Almost got into the within 9 seconds of the car ahead. Lap ago it was 10. So he's really on it right now.
Maybe he is, of course, as Lewis Curtis actually lost a bit of time to Pedro now, 1.2 seconds. Gap to J. Matthews, 2.3. Now, I don't think these inters can go to the end if it stays raining all the way through the end of this race. So, pit stop window possibly could be around about lap 23 to lap 24 to do probably 14 laps, so another 10 laps on these tyres as a push. and then do a 10-lap quick stint on the intermediates. But the drivers then could do, I don't know, probably to lap. Who's got the longest tyre life right now? Eric. So I'm guessing Eric will be pitting in the next 3 laps. 17, so that's... He'll be pushing it for the second stint. So Eric, in my opinion, needs to push a bit as well. I believe that's Jack Yates getting out of the way, and it is. Jack Yates moves out of the way. But the pit windows, I think, are going to be for lap 18, possibly to lap 22 for the intermediate pit stop to make another stop in the race. As
I'd agree with that, more or less. Lap 21, 22 would be when they would be around pitting, I'd say. Then that would take another 12, 13 laps to the end. That is about half. Obviously, I have their tires aren't going to be worn. They are going to be fresh going in and getting them on. So it should be pretty easy.
As now we will go on board with Lewis Curtis then, and I've got to say, do you think this weather is going to clear up in time, or do you think it's going to get a lot heavier? Because now the clouds are starting to settle in a lot more, and I don't see a lot of breaks in the clouds, so and it isn't that light, and it isn't really that dark, to be honest, as well. But do you think it could darken up the clouds and get the rain thicker and heavier in the next couple of laps, or is that out of the question?
I feel like if anything, it's gonna dry up. It looks like the clouds are kind of softening up, if you want to put it like that. So yeah, I'm not sure if it will get to that point, but I don't think it's gonna get heavier.
Well then, Lewis Curtis there did gain time, but then he lost 2 tenths to Pedro. I've got to say, Pedro, after he wasn't here last week, and I don't believe he was here for Austria, he's doing quite well, especially coming back, and he's currently in 3rd. Oh, Lewis Curtis there almost made a mistake there through turn 1. And there haven't been that many penalties in the intermediates compared to what it would be in the dries right now. As Eric is actually getting caught by Diego and... No, sorry, Casper, and Sondre is actually closing again on Felix. That's a very interesting battle, as Cameron Young is actually catching up on Voss for P5 right now, and he looks very calm and relaxed in the Williams. He's also doing a great race today. And at the moment he looks very quick on those inters, and it looks like Voss isn't got the confidence on those intermediate tyres, and it looks like Cameron Young could possibly squeeze a 3rd place possibly. I don't think he's going to get 2nd today unless that's a big task at hand, because the gap between him and the leader is 14.9 seconds. The only way he could challenge for 2nd place, in my opinion, is he doesn't pit, he goes to the end, which I think won't happen because there's no way those intermediates can go to the end without getting a puncher.
Yeah, I feel like 3rd is the best Cameron can hope for. If he does get 3rd, then we'd see the same people on the podium as... Yeah, I think he just realised that Matthew has a penalty now.
Yeah, I've just noticed that. Matthew got a 3-second. Now Jay, that will open Jay up. Jay now can relax, catch up a little bit, only by a couple of tenths. That's all he needs to do, or go for the undercut strategy. And he's looking very confident, possibly, to the end of this race, since Matthew's got a penalty, as long as he doesn't get a penalty, of course. If he gets a penalty, then it's back to an equal playing field between these two, as it's currently gap now 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like Matthew's really just eking out the maximum this track has to offer. Chase can't get it quite as much, but obviously he only needs to catch 4 tenths now, which doesn't seem like too much anymore. So maybe he's got a bit of life injected in him, and now maybe he'll be able to push a bit more.
It's true, of course, and right now Lewis is really trying to close up on Pedro. He gained he's gained up to 7 tenths now, the gap was, but he's now lost it again, and now he's gained it again. So I don't know, I think both these drivers are trying to play it as an equal playing field. He is low on fuel as well, which I've noticed. But I've noticed a lot lately that these guys like to go a bit less on fuel in the interconditions, possibly for a quicker car in the straights and that, but I don't know at the moment what Lewis and these guys going on low fuel is a good strategy, because then you need to save fuel near the end of the race.
Yeah, obviously rain does take out that little extra fuel as well, so fuel saving is going to be certainly a factor. And I think the people who still have the fuel at the end of the race is going to be the difference between I mean, it could be the difference between the win and second place between the top two.
Yeah, that is true, of course, as well. The gap now between Matthew and Jay is 3.9. So Matthew has probably told his team that he needs more power, and he's now picking up the pace. Gap now almost 4 seconds. So Matthew knows what he's got to do to just keep that gap between him and Jay, so that he doesn't lose the win by a penalty.
Yeah, and Matthew also has a full battery compared to Jay, who doesn't have so much. So he's just in complete control of this race lead, and it looks like he's just kind of cruising. He just keeps gaining time everywhere.
Jay pits then.
Jay pits. Obviously, he's going for an undercut. This might work out in his favour.
I think he's probably getting a couple of tenths.
Where will he come out as well?
Yeah, that is true as well. Where will he come out? So over on board with them now. He's going to get in clean air. Now that's good news, but the bad news is... Oh, that's Jack Yates actually getting out of the way. The bad news is for that, he's got Cameron Young ahead of him. Now, Cameron could play the team game and try and hold Jay up. Now, Cameron doesn't need a pit yet, but if I was him, I would, just to get a fresh set of tyres to challenge for a podium position. But could cost Jay to try and get the battle for the win, which could be a constructors team battle, as right now the Mercedes only points hope is from Jay, as Brandon's in 14th. And yet again, Brandon is really struggling as the weather has picked up. Has Jay made a mistake pitting? Because I've only just noticed that when we said earlier about the weather scenario, it was only spitting. Now it's actually chucking it down a little bit and could possibly lead to wet tyres.
That is actually quite true. If Matthew does hold out, oh no, Matthew is in, but I think he's going to be coming in for full wets.
See if he does. See what the pit crew do. There's no battles at the moment on track, so we can go on board Matthew. Nope, they're going in intermediates. Another set of inters. Comes in, Pedro and Lewis Curtis are in now. Will Cameron pit? No. They're not risking a double stack. Will Cameron jump him though?
I'm surprised no one else decided to stay out.
No, Pedro and Lewis Curtis have gone for wet. So, is it for wet time? And these two drivers are risking it and possibly going to try and catch the top runners with a possibly quicker tyre. As Ross gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, as JME is in 4th place right now after starting in 19th, but still needs to pit. Are they actually gaining?
Actually,
yeah, they are.
Representation of which one is better is
Pedro's gaining time.
Pedro's
gaining a little bit of time there on Jamie, and yeah, you are right. The best place to actually see if they gain time or not is from Boss and Lewis Curtis. Yeah, it looks like they're gaining time. Have the top 3 runners made a mistake? Is it wet choice? And could this actually lead Cameron Young for a possible win if he pits, or a possible podium to beat his championship rivals? You can see Matthew's struggling at the moment on those inters. Same with Cameron and Jay.
Yeah, Matthew will get first preference, so if he does want to pit again, he isn't coming in. Cameron is going to come in. Jay stays out. Well, Jamie Morris coming because he could be an underdog. I mean, he's been getting places everywhere.
Yep, he's coming in.
He's going to come in as well. It looks like people are coming in.
The wets though now starting to fall off because Boss has now gained a bit of time. 1.6 seconds. Will anybody pit for wet tyres? It looks like, yep, Cameron wets, and Cameron's getting a wing change, so Cameron had a bit of wing damage possibly. And this isn't going to help Matthew because the pit crew on this game sometimes does delay, even though it's been a lap when they've pitted. Cameron is out then. Sondre jumps him, so could we see a surprise points for Sondre now in 6th place? And could we see a win from Pedro?
Yeah, we'll see once Pedro gets well into sector 2 after that hairpin if he's catching or not.
That's true, of course. And the
See
gap
if
between
he
Jay and Matthew is
catches in the
3.4.
hairpin, 9.7 right now.
Is he gaining time?
Yeah, it seems like the inters and wets are equal, but I think right now it's better to be on the wets because it's definitely going to full wets.
Yeah, you can just see with the weather right now, it's really chucking it down. And right now, these top 2 runners will need a pit soon. We'll go on board with Matthew Alder. Will he pit? Will he make the schedule stop to go on the wet tyres, risk losing a position, or will he stay out? He stays out. What about Jay? Will Jay pit? No, Jay stays out.
I think it wouldn't be bad for Jay to just take the gamble and go on the full wets, because I don't think he really has much to lose, because all he's going to be going for is a race win, and I think he needs to use a very different strategy to what Matthew's doing, rather than just copying, just see if anything works, because I don't think just sticking to what Matthew does is going to be the right call in the long run.
Yeah, that is true, of course. We saw there for the final corner, Lewis Curtis drifting the Racing Point through that final corner, and as you said, it looks in between. I'd say it's full wets in my opinion, but the other game may say it's in between the tyres. As Casper now comes into the pits, he will be strapping on a full wet set tyres, I believe, as well. That's crew are strapping intermediates.
Since Pedro came out, he's gained... Oh yeah,
it's
he's
wet.
Gained like 5/10 in the
it's wet.
hairpin alone. It's wet now.
Yeah, you can tell straight away with the spray on the rear end of that Renault. He is in a chance to win this race. Gap between him and the leader. Oh, and there's a yellow in sector 3. Matt has retired manually. He's called it a day, and that won't cause a safety car because he's retired into the pits. Right now, though, Pedro is 12.5 seconds from the leader. Will the top 2 runners pit? Matthew stays out. Will Jay go for the undercut to go on the wets? No, they're staying out.
I really think Jay should just pit and just go for it. See what happens. I don't think it's going to be negative.
Yeah, it's definitely wets now. Gap now 8.1 seconds. They've gained a second in the couple of corners.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Jay's just not pitting. Like, it's...
They're probably risking it to stay out on the intermediates. They possibly may think it's quicker near the end and may have to fight them. But in my opinion, it's nowhere inters anymore. It is literally torrential rain. And the guys on the idiots, and look at Sondra. Sondra's done 16 laps on intermediates. And he's still going. As he's having actually a fight with Jamie Morris for P6. Sorry, P7. And Cameron Young is dropped now back to P6.
The gap now is going to be
7.4.
Inevitably like 7 seconds.
Yeah, it's 7.2 now between Pedro and Jay. It is really close, and it's probably going to be 6.5 end of this lap.
Yeah.
And Sondre lets Jamie through.
He's catching so much. Like, he's going to be at the back of Jay in no time.
Even with Sondre right now, he had that ball earlier. He's now making a switchback on JME. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. Sondre didn't really turn the steering as much. And yeah, it's definitely full wet. You can just see on the cockpit view there of Sondre Sohaug.
5 second. Oh, no, 3 second.
Yeah, I was right. Around about 6.4 near the end of the lap. Matthew stays out. Yes, he does. What about Jay? Is Jay pitting? No, I think they're going to stay out to the end.
Yeah.
They're not going to pit now.
I still don't know why Jay's just not coming in and just risking it.
It was a battle between Ollie and Bran. Oh, Bran almost loses the rear end on those inters, and you can just tell there, Bran is very good in the intermediate and the wet conditions, and he's struggling. Ollie's now lining up Casper for a move, who's also in the inters, and there goes Ollie Flavel in the McLaren, moving in 2 positions within a couple of corners. That's how much the wets are working. Yellows in sector 3. That is an Alfa Romeo. That's Jamie Morris. He's round as Sondre pits. Was there contact between them two, or was that just a mistake he made?
I didn't see it, so I can't be sure. But yeah, looking at the gap between Pedro and Jay, it was gonna be, it's 5 seconds now.
Gap leader is 10 seconds roughly, now 9 seconds, so it's 9 laps, not a second a lap. Matthew could, with the 3 second pen, Pedro hasn't got one, neither, oh no, Lewis has. Pedro hasn't got one, Jay's not got one. So all like Pedro needs
Jamie just lost the position to Felix, and he's like, oh, Jamie just gone into the back of Felix Negwar. He has major wing damage now.
Did he misjudge the braking, or was that deliberate?
No, he definitely misjudged the braking. Felix wasn't affected. He has no wing damage from it.
3.8 seconds.
Really he's gonna have to pit now.
Yep, the guys in the top two, your inter time is over, your positions are over. Pedro is on a mission, and he is gaining on you a second per lap. Actually, more than that, around about 1.5 seconds per lap, roughly. The gap now 3.3 seconds already by turn 2. And
yeah, and don't count out Lewis either. Lewis isn't too far back.
That is true, of course, but Pedro looks a strong man to win this race. Oh, and there's more yellows. That's Jamie off. That was Jamie off there. Let Diego through. I think Jamie definitely needs to pit. And he's in. And who's got the fastest lap, by the way? That's what I want to know. It's actually Casper in 14th. So
yeah, that would have been from early in the race.
Gap now 2.5 seconds. Pedro now can see the Mercedes car just ahead of him.
This is interesting because last week we had a differing strategies and no one knowing what tire to be on. Now we've different strategies, except I think everyone knows what tire they should be on. It's just Jay and Matthew are committed to taking these intermediate tires to the end, but they're just losing so much time. You can see Pedro's almost within a second of Jay now.
Well, Lewis Curtis hasn't really gained that much time on Matthew. 12.6 seconds. He's gained a bit of time on Jay. But Pedro, with only a couple of laps, has gained 6 seconds. And Matthew will be next up on his list. And he's now really closing up on Jay. He is now 1 second away from taking second place from Jay right now. And this man right now is on the verge of getting my driver of the day vote for today, because he's doing a great job in P3.
Yeah, he's onto the straight. I think the exit at hairpin, going into that left-hander, I think he might be able to make a move on Jay. With the difference that the wet, you can just see he can brake so much later, get so much more traction. He's gonna be on the back of Jay. He's gonna get a much better exit. Can he go down the inside? He's gonna be right up the back of him. No, not yet, but I think he could make a move anywhere right now and make it work.
Yeah, you can just see that. Look at that. That rear end of Jay's car is it's just losing grip. And Pedro can see this, but he's going to lose him a little bit of time to Matthew now. Just only a little bit. He needs to get ahead of Jay within the next lap if he wants a chance to win this race. He only needs to close up a second roughly, because Pedro hasn't got a penalty and Matthew has, and that is crucial for the Williams if he wants to try and win and score more points than Jay. But he's only going to score, what's third place? Jay gets 15, Matthew would get 18, so it's only a few points difference instead of a 7-point gap if he won the race and Jay finished second. I've got to say the top two haven't made the best call, but here he comes.
Time now.
He's picking the pace up. Jay goes on the inside, moves back to the racing line, which he is allowed to do. Oh, a bit of wheel banging there from the nose of the Renault into the J. That's just because of the grip difference, and that wasn't deliberate or anything like that. But here comes Pedro, and Jay is going to try and defend for his life, but will Pedro make a lunge on the outside possibly into turn 6?
I think he's going to have to go for a switchback. Jay will go late.
Yep, he's done it.
He does go deep, and he has made the switchback.
Great move there from Pedro.
Place.
Awesome move there. Now his next objective is Matthew Alder, only 4 seconds up the road, and that will be his next target on lap 28 at 34. Both the top two, the championship contenders, have both done a bottle. They have made mistakes again in the strategy, and it's going to cost Matthew the win.
I don't think Matthew's made a bottle until he loses the position. As long as he's leading, I think it's not.
Well, already look at the gap. It's already almost 3 seconds, and Pedro hasn't got a penalty. So if Pedro doesn't even have to pass if he's not got a penalty, as I ain't seen him get one.
Yeah, but if Matthew were to keep him behind and Pedro gets prize pen right at the end, then Matthew would look like a hero.
Yep, that is true, of course, as well. But the chance of that happening are slim. But remember, Matthew did say 30% chance of him winning today's race, and that 30% chance he is trying to make, as he's currently in the lead, losing a second already within 2 corners, and we're only on lap 29. Matthew has to defend for his life, especially for the championship's sake, if he wants to gain 10 extra points to Jay. And 10 points may not seem a lot, but into the championship sake, with only a couple rounds left in this season.
Yeah, and if Pedro can get ahead of Matthew and maybe hold him up a bit, Jay still doesn't have a penalty, so he might be able to snatch second.
Yeah, that is true, of course, as well. And there he goes.
But now Lewis, lap 29 out of 34, he's really closed up, and Cameron Young not too far back either. So the grid is just getting bunched up at the front, slowly but surely, and now Pedro can see Matthew. I'm sure Matthew can see Pedro in his mirrors coming through to the corner where Vettel bottled on maybe kind of the wrong tires. Matthew's certainly on the wrong tires right now.
Look at the grip difference already just through that corner. He gained so much time, like 3/10 it looked like there he gained. And right now, through the final corner there, Matthew makes another error, and look how close Pedro's getting. Could we see a move through turn 1? Anything could happen. I have seen overtakes before in turn 1, and it's just... Right now, Matthew's got to defend for his life. Gets a good exit though through turn 1, Matthew, compared to Pedro. What do you think, Kevin? Do you think Matthew's going to be able to hold this position, or do you think he's going to lose to Pedro?
That's... Matthew didn't have a great exit there, and Pedro did tap him on the exit. But they are going to go side by side now. He has a wing just there, so Matthew will have to give him space. He's going to be on the outside, coming into the hairpin. This is for the race lead for Pedro. Matthew's probably going to go deep, and he's going to make another switchback. And he is going to take the lead of this race. Pedro into first place. And Jay in the background as well is getting pressured, but Pedro takes the lead. No penalties so far as we know.
As Pedro has just showed the defending champion. Yeah, that is true. Pedro has just showed the defending champion what he's got in these wet conditions compared to the strategy Matthew tried to make. And look at Lewis Curtis. He's now challenging for it. And possibly Cameron Young also could challenge Jay as well, which could be amazing news for Matthew just to try and save some points. But...
oh, he's going to be going down the inside into the hairpin.
In the Vettel corner where Vettel made his big bottle. And there he goes. Lewis Curtis is into third place. Will Lewis Curtis take second? We're on lap 30. We're about to start lap 31.
Jay.
Jay's round. Jay's round. Jay holds it there. It looked like he went completely round.
Yeah, it looked like Jay was going to go into the pits, but then decided not to, and then came back into Cameron's line, and then hit Cameron, and then that put him in the spin.
8 points difference right now, so he's losing 1 extra point than what it would have been when they were first and second. These two have made a silly strategy, but it's ended in shame today. Look at that already. Pedro's 2.2.
Also going for the same strategy, and he's under threat from his teammate Felix Negwar down in P6.
Yeah, Felix started in 18th. Look at this. Felix is now doing the German crowd some great racing right now. He isn't doing the bottle. He's going to get some decent points for the Red Bull team. Tries to switch. Look at the grip difference, and you can just tell. There you go. Move already done before corner. And look at Diego.
It looks like Cameron Young has got past Jay. I'm not sure if he caught that. I didn't.
It was actually when Jay lost it through the final corner a little bit.
I did that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And also Brandon is actually getting challenged by Jamie Morris and Casper as well. 3 wide as here comes Jamie then. 3 wide battle right now. And it will be possibly 3 wide on the straight the way it's going to go. And look at that, the gap already between Pedro and Matthew, 3.6 seconds. Jamie's trying to go on the outside, can't make it work. Here comes Jamie on the inside. Casper, not that far behind. And these two are going to go 3 wide, possibly down the long straight as they go side by side between each other. Almost a bit of contact between the two. Bran is trying to find a way. Here comes Jamie, a late lunge, and look at the grip difference. Jamie sends it and just shows Bran that the lack of traction and lack of grip on those inters. And Casper gets moved on, and so does JME, and Brandon drops to 14th. It's Jade now pits. I don't know what Jay's doing. Jay's made a pit stop, maybe thinking he's not going to lose any more positions, and he wants to basically keep 5th from Felix Negwar.
Yeah, as you were commentating over that battle, Voss was passed by Diego, and is also in the threat from Sondra Sorhog.
The bottle hog who made a bottle
at the start had a bottle, of course. Now challenging for P8 on the exit. He is going to be able to use all the battery, or enough battery at least. Voss also has enough for this straight. He's going to go side by side down the inside. We haven't really seen moves like this near the end of this race, but he's made it work, and he's up in 8th place now.
Great move there from Sondre Sohaug, and I did call him a bottle hog earlier, but that bottle hog is going. He is the fast hog. The legendary TNR Zexa, or as Sondre Sohaug is, currently in 8th place right now. Could he take
Matthew
the
is under threat as Lewis almost loses the back end coming out of the final corner. Cameron Young is also very close to his teammate.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be team orders between them
33 out of 34.
Yep,
I know Lewis and Matthew both have 1 penalty each, so this is for position.
Yeah, so Cameron is going to get the position anyway, so Matthew ain't really going to fight his teammate then, to be honest. But if he does, it's going to be very strange, because he's going to lose the position on pens anyway, and the penalty isn't going to get removed because it's a 3-second. Unless it was a glitch 3-second, but I doubt it. But here comes Lewis Curtis then. Look at the grip. Already trying to lunge. Actually, hang on a minute. Is this my eyes deceiving me? Has the rain cooled down? Ooh, that was cheeky from Matthew.
Yeah, it looked like Matthew kind of just pushed him off there.
That you're not allowed to push somebody off completely off track. Half a car, yeah, but not full car. If Lewis... Wow, that's going to be...
teammates having a look
possibly.
at him.
Yep, Cameron is looking for 2nd place. And Cameron is looking hungry. Cameron hasn't had the luck all season long, and now could he beat his first... Could Matthew be beaten by his first ever teammate in IRL? Could this be Cameron's day for 2nd place? As look at Pedro, 7.4 seconds right now. On lap 33, Matthew has nothing to answer, and look, the grip difference as now Lewis has already caught back up then. As we're about to start the final lap of the race, as we're on the final lap for Pedro. Cameron Young then is possibly going to make a move very shortly. Hopefully there's no contact between these two.
Oh, Lewis gets a better exit.
Yep, he does. He's possibly going to send it. He thinks about it, but not at the moment. And there's wing damage on Lewis Curtis's car. Was that between the contacts?
Matthew makes a mistake coming out of the final, turn 2 that was.
Oh, so does Lewis.
And now his teammate's going to have a run on him. Lewis is actually off track. Lewis has made a mistake.
Oh, that's a shame for Lewis. That's game over for him then to challenge these two. But now the Williams and going side by side.
Flags as well, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to make. He will actually.
He went
on
green.
The outside.
Matthew trying to shove his teammate off, but Cameron is saying it's not your day today, it is my day to take P2. And Cameron is looking confident, especially from starting quite far down the grid, and Matthew has just been destroyed today. Same with Jay. Championship rivals and drivers with this amount of skill don't make mistakes like this with strategies. It was a good strategy to pull, especially with the conditions now lightening up, but it's game over, and you can just see Matthew's tyres are just dead after the full wet period. But right now, we will go on board with the race winner, Pedro, who took the lead in a couple of laps ago and built an 8.6 second gap. I don't know if he has any penalties, but he takes the win in first. Cameron Young will take 2nd place, unless Cameron's got a surprise 6-second penalty. But Cameron takes 2nd, Matthew takes 3rd, and Lewis Curtis is going to be disappointed for 4th after that contact he had between him and Matthew and that mistake he made. Jay is going to finish in a disappointing 5th place, but not going to lose that many points to Matthew, as Matthew only scored 15 points, so only 5 points difference. Jay takes 5th then, as Felix Negwar jumps to 6th, and he will be happy with that. Is he actually getting challenged by Diego? Will penalties change it? No. Yes, it does. Diego moves to 6th, Felix jumps to 7th. Sondre Sohaug takes P8, the bottle hog himself, as Voss struggled on the inters in 9th place, and Eric gets beaten by his teammate for the first time, I believe, in 9th. Eric and Voss jumps to 10th. Ollie Favell will take 11th, and Casper and Jamie are still fighting it out for P12 there, Kevin. Will we see a final attempt from Jamie Morris? As he looked very confident, and it's just fallen away from him today as he runs completely off the track to the final corner. And that's it. Casper then is going to take P12 on track. Jamie jumps him anyway by penalties. Brandon Glover will take 14th, it looks like. And this has been your grid, with Richard in 15th and Jack Yates in 16th, with the retirements of Matthew Collins and Jack Laverty. Well, there's the top man on the podium today. Pedro takes the first win in IRL for him, his debut win, and I believe the first win for Renault this season, or possibly the 2nd win. He will be very happy with that finish. And Cameron will be happy to beat his teammate in second, and Matthew Collins takes third. A very interesting strategy call he tried. But I will say Matthew won't be that disappointed, especially for the championship's sake, with Jay finishing in 5th place. But Renault then, top step of the podium. As this is the non-official results, because penalties and student could change the results later on. Pedro then takes the win in style by 11.5 seconds to Cameron Young in second, Matthew Alder third, Lewis Curtis 4th, Jay in 5th, Diego in 6th, Felix drops to 7th. Sandra saw have a great drive from him from starting 15th in 8th. Eric started in 9th, then finished in 9th. Voss in 10th from starting 5th with a similar strategy what he tried with Jay, and Matthew didn't work out for him today. Ollie with a lot of unluckiness today in 11th, Jamie in 12th. We'll be happy with that. Casper 13th, Brandon Glover in 14th, Richard in 15th with that big accident at the start of the race, and Jack Yates in 16th with Matthew Collins and Jack Laverty all retiring in today's race. Well then, Kevin, it's been a very interesting race and a very action-packed Grand Prix. What is going to be your highlight of the day today?
Matthew and Jay sticking it out on the inters. That's it.
Well, I should drive the day. I think it's actually going to be the position switch between Sondre Sohaug and Voss. I think Sondre made a very interesting strategy call to go on the wets, made it work, and got some points out of it as he had a disappointing result in Silverstone last week. So that's my highlight of the day, Sondre getting 8th, and good result for him today. Well then, we will get the top 3, which were Pedro, Cameron and Matthew. I don't think Pedro has a mic, but I think he said he can't. But I will invite him as well, just in case. Where's he at? And then we'll invite the Williams pair of Cameron and Matthew. Where is his CRG account? Have you? Oh, brilliant. For some reason it didn't invite Pedro. That's just brilliant. I'll invite him again. Well then, could you just quickly put a message in the PSN to let them know that they've got an interview for the top 3? As while we wait for the top 3 then to join the interview, if you guys got any questions for the drivers, do let us know in the comments and we will tell them. Right now while we wait, it's been a very action-packed race. As here comes Matthew Alder and Cameron Young then, joining the party. Well then, we will start off with Cameron Young. Congratulations on your 2nd place and your first time beating your teammate this season. How does it feel the way the race went with how it went?
I mean, I'm actually quite annoyed, to be honest. Obviously starting at the back, which really did me over a bit, because I think I had pace. I think I could have got into the point 8s with hards, but it is what it is. Made use of a bad something bad that happened. P8 by lap 1, I believe, and then switch on to the inter and I get damaged. So I think I might have been able to catch Faz, because obviously I wouldn't have had 5 seconds, and then I'd have been with them, not stuck behind the stage and everything. But overall, yeah, it's quite a good race.
Well then, with that wing damage, could you let us know how you got that wing damage? Was that contact or was that just a mistake you made?
It was just after the hairpin, after Parabolica, on that mini straight. I was trying going flat out on the inters, and I sort of lost it. Hit the brake marker board and hit the wall, but thankfully it was only yellow damage, so I could continue without too much fuss.
Well then, you made that pit stop and went on the wet tyres, which was the best strategy call. Did you let your teammate know that the wets were faster, or did you just let him control his own race for the championship's sake, for the drivers, and see what he would do?
Well, for the first 2 laps I was on the wets. I didn't know, because I also had Jeff telling me that inters are quicker He's also, but then he was telling me to switch on to the wets, but I decided to go wets and said to myself, well, I mean, I'm not really losing much. So then I went on to the wets. We kept updating each other, but I think by the time the wets were about 2 seconds quicker, Matthew couldn't really pit because Faz was closing in Jay a lot, and also then Matthew wouldn't have been able to get the gap to Faz by the end of the race.
Well then, I ain't got any other questions to ask you unless Kevin's got you a question to ask.
When you did come in for the full wets and you saw like some other people coming for wets and other people coming in for inters, did you think that the wets would end up being better? Like, did you know from the start of the race that it was going to be heavy rain? Because there seemed to be a bit of confusion.
I think the confusion was right until the end because of I was sort of gonna go on to the onto those inters, but then he was like chopping and changing, and then Matthew was saying that Lewis and Faz are catching Jay by a lot. So in the end, it was like I said, don't really I have nothing to lose, so I may as well go for it. And then by the end, obviously, they were a lot quicker.
Okay.
Alright then. Well, actually, I do have one little quick question actually to ask you. With next week being Italy, how do you feel you're going to be around that track, and compared to your pace with today, do you think you could be on another podium and possibly a win this time and beat your teammate yet again, or is that not part of the plan?
Well, I believe me and Matthew obviously have a good relationship, but like if the championship's there for the taking, I'm obviously gonna let him have it. But I think I'm on for another podium again, at least. Monza, one of my best tracks. It's hard to say because it's only a few straights, but very quick around there. So we'll wait and see.
Okay then. Well, thank you for joining us for the interview, and congratulations on your second place. Fortunate that you couldn't catch up with Pedro, but good luck to your next race in Italy.
Thank you.
Well then, the championship points leader, Matthew Alder. Well, Matthew, are you here?
Yes.
Well then, a bit unluckiness today with the strategy near the end of the race costing you a win, but you've still got to be happy that you beat Jay in the points. How do you think the race went? Could you have changed it anyway, or get a better qualifying or anything like that?
My quality was average by a lap. In general, I mean, the turn 1 was horrible. I almost crashed on my turn 1 on the lap. But the rest of it was alright, but it was mainly just because that turn 1 that I didn't get higher up. And I think what I could have done is, in the way into the pits, Jeff told me to go onto wets, and I was too hesitant. I didn't think it would be a good idea because generally the inters are still faster or equal in heavy rain conditions. The heavy rain conditions never really get heavy enough.
Right then. Well, as you did say, you almost lost it through turn 1. We did actually catch that, and there was a lot of people struggling with turn 1. Do you think that's just because the way track limits are, or is it just with the curbs in quality? If you didn't have that mistake, did you think you could have got pole position? Matthew's lagged out. That's why he stopped. Well then, I think we'll try and join back. Hopefully he can join back, of course. Let's quickly see. If he can't join back, then we will have to call it there and ask him the question next week about Germany. Let's give him a bit of time. But Cameron, actually, one little question I should like to ask you. In the constructors, do you think it's basically wrapped up now that Mercedes got no chance with the way Brannon is performing and Jay's just the only one who's pulling the work in, or do you think they've still got a chance?
Obviously they've still got a chance because maybe little incidents along the way, but like, never say never, I guess, but I'd say it's pretty much wrapped up. think me and Matthew are very consistent with our finishes. Obviously, I'm not the best being consistent, but Matthew's always up there. So I think it's pretty much done and over.
Well then, we'll give Matthew to half past to join, and if he doesn't join, we will call it today then. Well, while you guys wait, we'll give you some information. So it will be Italy next week. I wonder if the wet weather is going to turn up there, as it's turned up for 3 rounds now. It was at Austria, it was at Britain, it was at Germany. Are we going to expect it at Italy? Could possibly happen, could be an interesting race. Oh, as Matthew actually has joined back. What happened, Matthew? Did you have internet issues or?
It turned off.
Oh, well then, you stopped at the wet when you wondering at which would be faster. So if you were finishing or
Normally it's like inters are like perfectly fine in the heavy rain conditions, and I was gambling on that even if Jeff told me to go onto wets, because how it normally happens, he'll tell you to go onto wets and it's not faster anyway. But it was a shame that it was.
well, yeah, it was a shame that it was, because you could have won quite dominantly. Really, you had that penalty, of course, as well, and you were just after you got that penalty, you picked the pace up straight away. Like in a couple of laps, you already built up a second roughly gap to be safe from Jay, possibly trying to take that position by penalties. And as you said with turn 1 in quali, where you made that mistake which almost put you in the wall, but you controlled it. A lot of people did make a lot of mistakes through turn 1, of course, so you weren't the only one. But as I said before, it kicked you out of the party with your internet going off. If you didn't have that mistake, could you have got pole position?
But nah, because the last sector was pretty average as well. I ran wide in the Mercedes grandstand and the sector last corner. Raw. But it would have definitely put me P2.
Well, it didn't really matter in the race anyway. You had a great start, and unfortunately, if Jeff actually was right for once, which he was, but unfortunately you didn't think it would have been faster, you could have possibly won today's race and gained a lot of points on Jay, which would have been 15 points I think you would have gained if you won, which would have been crucial in the championship as well. But the way things going is there's only a few rounds left, 3 rounds left, of course. Do you think you could possibly wrap the championship up next week or at Japan at round 11 on?
I think I can wrap. Well, do you know what the points gap is?
Not right now. The points gap is at the moment. You've got 139 points. He's got 92. I'm trying to do some calculations here. So you finished.
I'll do it.
Yeah, you're probably quicker, to be honest.
I just have to come to Discord.
102.
Uh,
52 points, I think it is.
yeah, it'll be 52 points. Yeah, I think I'll be able to wrap it up next week then, because after that, actually there'll only be 2 rounds, and maximum will be 52 points. And I like Italy a lot. One of my faster tracks, so.
Hopefully you will do well at Italy, of course. But one quick question before I see if Ken wants to ask you a quick question. If you didn't have that penalty and the strategy where it was, were you going to actually let your teammates through, or were you going to fight and with the tyres, or did you just let them through because you had the penalty and didn't really fight?
Well, I knew Cameron had a penalty, so I was intending to fight.
Well then.
Quicker.
Well then, Kevin, do you want to ask Matthew a question?
No, I don't have any.
Okay then. Well, next week is Italy, and you said it is one of your quick tracks. Do you think then you could get a win, hopefully, if the weather doesn't mess you up with Jeff and that, or if the weather's basically the same and the strategy call happens again, do you think it'll be a lot closer between you and Jay?
I think if there's no heavy rain, then I think I'll be able to win. It just in the dry, it will definitely depend on whether I break the DRS. I think in the rain I'll be able to break away anyway.
Okay then. Well, congratulations on your podium position in 3rd place there. It wasn't a win or 2nd place for you after the weather did get a lot heavier, and then it lightened up at the end. But you will be happy that you scored more points than Jay, and you're looking forward for Italy. So thank you for the interview, Matthew, and congratulations for both William drivers. Finished the second and third today. Well then, Kevin, have you got anything to add before I close the stream down?
Hopefully we get another race like this, because I mean the last two races were unpredictable with like what tires should you be on. I don't know, maybe it would be better just have a dry race and a proper fight at the front, but something to spice it up next week.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm a bit sick of the wet weather race, and I want a bit of dry, a bit of quicker race, and a bit more side-by-side moments. But we'll wait and see till next week. Well then, I've been your commentator, IRL, and I was Jared Fosbury. I've been joined by my co-commentator, Kevin Harrison, as Aspect. This has been IRL Season 7 F1T Round 9 at Germany. If you want to see more IRL F1, join us next week at Saturday at 6 o'clock. If you want to see more F2 and F3, join us tomorrow for F2, which is brought by Lance and Eric, and F3, which is brought by Felix. I don't know if Sandra is doing it for tomorrow for F3 at 4:30 UK time. Well, anyway guys, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.